What is the most useless fact you know? If all kangaroos from Australia invaded Uruguay, each Uruguayan would have to fight against approximately 13 kangaroos. Uncopyrightable is the longest word in the English language that doesn't repeat a letter. Only useful if you really want to annoy the shout of some people in a game of hangman. A butt is a unit of measurement equivalent to 126 gallons. So if you claim that you have a buttload of something, you better have 126 gallons of that something. Sloths can hold their breath for up to 40 minutes underwater, which is longer than dolphins. For those wondering, it's because they have insanely slow metabolisms. They literally don't use as much oxygen as other animals. Their metabolism can also kill them because it's so slow to digest food. They can starve on a full stomach. That American scientist once lit a cigarette with a nuclear bomb. Ants can't take full damage because their terminal velocity isn't fast enough to break their exoskeleton. Same with most spiders. Goofy's original name was Dippy Dog. Still bothers me that Goofy is a dog that walks on 2 feet and can talk, but Pluto is just a regular dog. A study of 10,000 pugs found the gene pool diversity was only made up from 50. Your username makes me chuckle but also sad. There shall never be a long face pug. The Spanish Inquisition would give an accused person 30 days notice to prove they weren't heretics. Also, proving you weren't a heretic was super easy. An affidavit sufficed in 99% of cases. Plus, acquittal by the Inquisition protected you from criminal prosecution by the state. The Inquisition was actually a huge improvement over the status quo. Before, the state could simply execute political enemies for heresy, wink wink. The Inquisition had an extremely low punishment rate overall. It was intended to stop bogus heresy charges by increasing due process. The first 1080p video on YouTube was the Muppets singing Bohemian Rhapsody. You can't say that and not link it. For the rest of you. Michael J. Fox's middle name is Andrew, Andrew. I'm beginning to suspect his real name is not Michael J. Fox. Michael Fox and Michael A. Fox were already registered SAG names. Confetti is the plural word. The singular is confetto. 1 horsepower is equivalent to approximately 54 duck power. Soaps and detergents are marketing themselves as eco-friendly because now they are phosphate-free, but phosphates have been outlawed in all 50 states since 1994, and the surfactant industry began moving away from the use of phosphate-based soaps in the 50s. But they can charge 5% more for doing nothing. The only endorsement Elvis Presley ever did was for a donut shop that he loved. He made the appearance at just 19 years old in 1954 when he was relatively unknown. Not only was this the only endorsement he ever did, but his compensation for it was a box of hot glazed donuts from the shop. Totally worth it. I learned this yesterday that Elvis was asked in 1956 before going on the Ed Sullivan Show if he'd get a polio vaccine in front of cameras. That photo was put in newspapers nationwide. There was a vaccination gap in teens of the time they were not getting it. That photo caused, I believe, a 15+ increase in the total vaccinated population of the US. Not entirely useless, but the plural of cul-de-sac is cul-de-sac. Gilmore Girls taught me this. Snakes can get malaria. Another random snake-related fact. A 40-acre Montana fire was caused by a hawk landing on power lines while clutching a large snake. The wriggling snake touched a second power line, completing the circuit and electrocuting both animals with up to 700,000 volts. I think the snake knew this kills the bird. Foot tickling for sexual arousal was a tradition in the Muscovite palaces and courts for centuries. Catherine the Great and Anna Ivanovna were ardent participants. Ticklers sang naughty ballads and told lewd stories whilst tickling their ladies' feet, working their mistresses up into an erotic frenzy with which to meet their husbands or partners. Outsourcing foreplay. Nice. That's next level wealth, dude. If your entire body healed as fast as your tongue, you would starve to death. This is why chemotherapy messes up your sense of taste so badly. It wrecks all the fast dividing cells in your body. I need a explanation. Tongue heal fast. Fast takes energy juice. Lots of energy juice, use less energy juice in storage. Run out of energy juice. Perish. Using up all the nutrients, yo. That relative to its size, the barnacle has the largest dong of any creature. I feel like endowed like a barnacle doesn't get enough use. It's written in Canadian law that a passenger can't exit your airplane without a parachute. They just have one parachute, and as someone gets off, they grab it, then pass it back to the flight attendant. Cookie Monster's real name is Sid. He said useless. Sid, we think you have an addiction. This is an intervention. Female hyenas have a 7-inch long clitoris that they give birth through. Who's laughing now? Who and spotted hyenas are born to their ranks. Mothers that are the queen. Her young are next in line to the throne until someone else takes over. Then her and her young will be at the lowest of the low in the hierarchy. Pretty interesting. And females are considered higher up than the males. Takes them about 2 years before they can eat bone since their jaws are still developing. Plus there are 4 species of hyena. The aardwolves look cool. Turtles can breathe through their buttholes. Not all of them. Polar bear livers contain a deadly level of vitamin A. It's useless because our livers are totally safe for polar bears, and that's likely how things would go if we met. If it's black, attack, fight back. If it's brown, get down. If it's white, good night. Warning, this is only applicable to bears, not humans. You'd have to eat around 1,888,000 pieces of paper to reach your daily 2,000 calories. The effort needed to eat that much paper would probably make how much you need to eat higher, and so on and so on. Are you implying that there are other problems with eating nothing but paper besides the quantity of paper necessary? What kind of dimensions too? I need to know this. Is it 18x 18 inches or what? Who the F uses 1818 paper? The longest ear hair was 7 inches long. Challenge accepted. Eels actually have 2 jaws. The first being like a normal jaw. The second being hidden in their throat. The secondary jaw lunges forward when the eel bites down on prey. Bites down on the piece within the mouth and bites a chunk out of it, pulling it down the throat. Think about the alien in the movie Alien. The secondary mini mouth they use is based off an eel's anatomy. When the jaws open wide, and there's more jaws inside, that's a moray. When the fish that you feel's not a fish but an eel, that's a moray. Elephant pregnancies last 2 years. Was at a school trivia science Olympics thing and they marked me wrong for this answer. I pushed back until someone went to check and found out I was indeed correct, so they threw that question out to make it fair since they were wrong. Still mad about that some 20 years later. A-holes, I'm very angry on your behalf. Similar experience, they claimed Mars was the hottest planet in the solar system, but they refused to check when I contested it and told me I shouldn't care anyway because the contests were supposed to be fun. This is a school saying not to care about facts. Ugh. Cockroaches are like us, in a way. When you touch a cockroach, it will go wash itself. That does not explain why a roach decided to crawl on 5-year-old me and traumatize me for years. But why do they like getting touched though? Roaches are thigmotropic, meaning they like to feel pressure, preferably on all sides. It's why they tend to live in walls and cracks. It's a safety mechanism for them, so they like being touched in a certain sense. Source: I'm a pest control specialist. They're perverts. I still have a Windows XP Service Pack 1 acceptable CD key memorized. BCX44G46Y6XBWTV8QKHB2VXJP. Now this is truly useless. I still have my old internet password memorized. Not quite as useless or long, but 485E545R6U48. A strawberry, raspberry, and blue blackberry are not technically part of the berry family. Berry family includes banana, kiwi, pumpkin and avocados. The world has gone mad. If all the berries aren't actually berries, then maybe our definition of berry is the problem. Armadillos are the only other species besides humans that can carry leprosy. The types of skin on your butthole and lips are the same. The skin on the inside of your cheek is the same as the inside of a vagina, and you just lick the inside of your cheek reading this. You thirsty person, you. There are around 3,500 species of mosquitoes, but only about 100 will bite you. The ones that do bite are female. Females need the blood right before they lay their eggs. So when I'm getting bit at home, she is about to lay some damn eggs somewhere. WTF, use and abuse. The bananas we based artificial banana flavoring on were nearly wiped out by a blight, which is why artificial banana tastes so different from real bananas. Cows kill more people each year than sharks and alligators combined. Makes sense. Probably really uncommon for cows to be swimming in the ocean. so it is unlikely that they'd ever have the opportunity to kill a shark. Incidentally, there are a lot of cows raised in Hawaii, so if they had an uprising, they could make their way into the ocean to murder some sharks. An important note is that if we often spent time surrounded by thousands of sharks or alligators and tried to herd them in 2 pens, these numbers would be very different. There are approximately 2 popes per square kilometer in the Vatican City. I always bring this up when someone quotes statistics. The Vatican has the highest number of popes per square kilometer, too. Great example that if you have an agenda when creating statistics, you can show whatever you want. Also, obligatory statistics. The longest worm in the world is the Lineus longissimus, and can reach up to 55 meters. The Shrek cast didn't meet till the movie was finished. Shrek was also used as a gulag-esque punishment of sorts for people at DreamWorks who didn't do well enough while working on The Prince of Egypt. They called the act Getting Shrieked, which I suspect any unknowing fans of early 2010s memes in this thread will enjoy. You'd better check yourself before you Shrek yourself. Osama bin Laden had the Charlie bit my finger video saved on his computer. The medical term for butt crack is intergluteal crease. Thanks Jeremy. Bees generate electricity because their wing flapping is so fast. They can use this to tell if a flower has been landed on by another bee already due at its electric charge. Bees are electric type Pokemon. Finally, I've long searched for a possible Pokemon type for those bugs. The clouds and bushes in Super Mario Bros are the same sprite recolored to save on memory. There's a type of Oceania flatworm where they're all born essentially male, but have hidden ovaries. When they reach sexual maturity they all fence each other with their penis. The winner impregnates the loser and gets to remain male while the other becomes female. Polar bears are the only land animal that can't be seen on heat sensing radar. In 1963, Major League Baseball pitcher Gaylord Perry remarked, "They'll put a man on the moon before I hit a home run." On the 20th of July, 1969, an hour after Neil Armstrong set foot on the surface of the moon, Perry hit his first, and only, home run while playing for the San Francisco Giants. At that point he was obligated to hit one over the fence. Tic Tacs technically count as sugar-free in the US even though they are basically just sugar, because of the US regulation that if a serving has less than 1 gram of sugar then it can count as sugar-free. Tic Tacs are around 0.5 grams each. Penguins have knees. Otters really like to RE. They are kid otters, dead otters, alive otters and other male otters. They just really like RE. Ducks like RE too. 22/7 is closer to the actual value of pi than the commonly used 3.14. Being retired, I rarely need the actual value of pi myself anymore. NASA uses 15 decimal places in their calculations with pi. With 39 digits you can calculate the circumference of the known universe down to the width of a hydrogen atom. Women blink more often than men. They also have more babies than men. I had a baby after I read this goddammit. I blinked after I read this goddammit. Cows can walk upstairs but not downstairs. The common European pigeon has 2 long-range bird calls, a 3-note woo-woo-woo that is a bar of 5/4, and a 5-note woo-woo-woo-woo-woo that is a bar of 17/8. The dot over the letter I is called a tittle, and the J, please tell me it's a jittle. In WW2 the British trained seagulls to poo on enemy periscopes before realizing that seagulls could not fly far enough out to sea for this to be useful. They could poo from planes themselves, why bother the seagulls SMH? They didn't eat much at that time. This reminds me of bad bombs. They were an experimental weapon tested in WW2 where they would drop a bomb full of Mexican free-tailed bats that each had an incendiary bomb attached. Some of the sh we came up with during WW2. Funnily enough, the bad bomb was considered an effective weapon experimentally, and they were planning to put it into action. But the Manhattan Project reached its maturity first, and the first atomic bombs got dropped instead. The biggest desert in the world is Antarctica. The disease for which volcanic ashes enter and infect the lungs is called Norman ultramicroscopic silicovolcaniconiosis. Was it a challenge trying to type that on mobile? Absolutely. The word F was uttered in The Wolf of Wall Street 569 times. Those are rookie numbers. The longest word in the English language that does not have a chiefly technical use is floxin or synihilipilification. which is defined as the act of estimating something to be worthless. As dead bodies decay, they burp or release gases. For this reason, caskets and mausoleums need to be ventilated so that the gas can escape. If you see stains on the concrete around a mausoleum and it's not rained recently, that means it's not been properly maintained. Those stains, yeah, that's your Auntie Nora. Sometimes those things leak so bad they need to be washed out. Source: worked for pressure wash company. That's also why whale carcasses are so dangerous, because as the gas builds up they might actually explode and you could be killed by dead whale organs falling from the sky lol. Koalas have been known to sleep up to 22 hours a day. Dolphins have sex for pleasure and not just to reproduce. Dolphins are awesome. They'll have sex with beheaded fish if they can. Finally, something me and dolphins have in common. Beavers are fish according to the Vatican, so you can still eat beavers on Friday, gentlemen. Percussive maintenance is the name of hitting something till it works. This method doesn't work when trying to make your brain work. I speak from experience. When you have to go to the toilet really bad all of a sudden and then it goes away, your bladder is only filled to 25%. I actually will find this useful for road trips. Then what happens at a 100% full bladder? You piss yourself. Is this every 25% or just the first 25%? If you say bacon with a British accent, you're also saying bacon with a Jamaican accent. Wild ducks have penises up to 40 centimeters in length. The penis is curly like a pig's tail and can either be turning clockwise or counterclockwise. When a male duck has found a partner, the female duck's internal reproduction organs will automatically start to twist in the same direction as the male's, like a lock that adjusts to the shape of a key. You will be wondering why. Well, that's because wild ducks are notorious for RE. No species of birds has as many RS as wild ducks. The matching of the curls of the reproductory organs is a primary defense mechanism for the RS. Other defense mechanisms include a sperm lock. When unwanted sperm enters the female, she can guide it away from her egg cells. Oh, and there are about 3 female births for every male birth. That's because so many female ducks get killed during these RS. Ducks are vile. If it is a legitimate duck RE, the body has ways of shutting it down. A female duck's vagina is counter corkscrew wise than the male duck, and has dead ends in her vagina with spikes, making duck corkscrewing quite hard. The dash is in the middle of the highway, between lanes, are 10 feet long. I refuse to believe this. Next time you're on the highway, just get out and start measuring width in your feet. Usually they're 10 long with 30 gaps. Cannibalism is legal in Germany. Rubber bands last longer when they're refrigerated, not useless. To cook a chicken in one slap, you would have to slap it with a velocity of 1665.65 ms or 3725.95 miles per hour. Parker Ormond. Ah, yes. Now I can slap box and cook my chicken at the same time. Kangaroos can't jump backwards. Giraffe have the same number of vertebrae in their neck as humans. Mystery flavor airheads are just made from all of the cuttings and scraps that didn't make it into final batches. So every mystery flavor airhead really is a mystery. 80% of German shepherds are dogs. I know this probably some stupid joke, but I'd wager there are a lot less actual German shepherds than those 20%. My rough estimates put the amount of German shepherds at no more than 0.01% of the world German shepherd population. You will produce enough saliva to fill up 2 swimming pools during your lifetime. Left-handed people only represent about 10% of the general human population. I feel like at this point this is known, but you know that stinging feeling you get in your tongue when eating pineapple? That is because pineapple contains a certain chemical that digests meat. So basically when you eat pineapples they eat you back. And ever noticed how canned pineapple or pineapple on pizza doesn't do this? The enzyme responsible for this effect, bromelain, is inactivated by heat, so only fresh pineapples do this. This is actually an useful fact to know in the kitchen, as bromelain also digests gelatin. Therefore you cannot make a gelatin-based pineapple pudding with fresh pineapple, but you can make it with canned or otherwise cooked pineapple, the enzyme bromelain, to be precise. I ate a full pineapple the other day, and by the end my lips were bright red and bleeding a bit at the edges. Pineapples are fantastic, would recommend. You're supposed to take that prickly skin off first, Give a pineapple some more millions years of evolution and it will become the eater and not eaten. Species like cockatiels can collect minerals they lack from eating their poop. Dreamt is the only word in the English language that ends in MT. Cockroaches like to be touched, all the time, a lot. Touched by what? My shoe. However, they also think humans are disgusting. My ex-wife is sleeping with at least 5 different men. Is she getting paid or is it pro bono work? We all pay for it, one way or another. A female elephant is called a cow, not to her face, I'd bet.